Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw. I'm here with Brad Dean, who is CEO of Discover Puerto Rico. Now, we wanted to talk with Brad about what's going on in Puerto Rico today, both from an infrastructure point of view with the COVID crisis, and also what we can look forward to ahead for marketing from Puerto Rico, and also what travel advisors should start thinking about now if they want to book their clients to Puerto Rico, which actually, as we all know, is part of the United States. So it may be one of those destinations that will emerge very quickly, we hope. But you can hear all about that and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, Brad, first of all, we don't hear much about how Puerto Rico is faring during the coronavirus crisis. In fact, I'm from New York, so we're so focused on New York. Are many people on the island infected? Have there been many deaths?
Thankfully, Puerto Rico has fared well so far, and a lot of credit goes to our governor and our local health officials who reacted very early and very proactively to help protect the island's residents and visitors. Today, we have a little over 900 confirmed cases, and we have had, tragically, 45 deaths. But comparatively, we're doing well. Of course, one death or one illness is one too many, but it does appear like the proactive leadership on the island, in large part, I think, recognizing what the island had gone through with the Zika virus, and had to react quickly, has really paid off. And not only is that good news for the residents and visitors today, but hopefully that's going to help us pave the way for a quicker recovery period when we're on the right side of this COVID cycle.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a bit, but unfortunately, Puerto Rico has had its share of crises to deal with in the last few years. But let's talk, first of all, is the island is currently closed to air and cruise traffic? Is that true?
So the island is currently open to air traffic.
Right.
The two of the three airports have closed, the minor airports in Aguadilla and Ponce, but our main airport, San Juan International, is still open to traffic, and we do have a modest number of flights that are still arriving on the island. One of the things the government did was to implement testing of visitors coming through, first using the thermographic scanners to check temperatures, and now actually beginning the implementation of coronavirus tests at the airport. And our hope is that by maintaining an open airport, that's going to allow us to recover more quickly. The island did close to cruise traffic as this crisis began to emerge. And hopefully when we're on the right side of this, we'll be able to see cruises and airlines returning. But for right now, a very limited number of airlines or flights coming in and still servicing from most of the major airlines.
Yes, I know. And of course, all the cruise lines have shut down, at least now it looks like until possibly June, July. We'll see. It would depend. Every line is a little different. How is Puerto Rico maintaining its tourism infrastructure during this crisis? Are all the hotels closed, or are some still open? And are those that are closed or even open working to renovate further? Although I guess you've had a few chances in recent years to renovate.
One of the byproducts of having gone through what we've gone through, particularly Hurricane Maria, led to a lot of refurbishing, rebuilding, and renewed properties. So one of the great things about the destination, when you visit now, you feel like every hotel property you visit is a new hotel, because in fact, they really are in some sense. So thankfully, we've been through that, which I think enables us to come back a little more quickly once we're on the positive side of the COVID curve. In terms of maintaining, preparing for infrastructure, some hotels have closed down just sheerly because of the lack of visitors, and it just made sense to do so. Other hotels have stayed open, but with minimal occupancy. And of course, in Puerto Rico, there's a lot of small businesses involved in the visitor economy. So many of those businesses have scaled back dramatically or closed down. But James, one of the encouraging things that I've noted when I talk to our partners throughout the island is there's such a strong, vibrant entrepreneurial spirit here. And because Puerto Rico has developed such great resiliency, having dealt with earthquakes and hurricanes and political unrest, that everyone in the business community is looking forward, planning ahead so that we can accelerate the recovery once it's safe to travel.
Yes, well, actually, you did mention it, and you seem to sort of Puerto Rico has sort of endured the 7 plagues or something of the past few years with the hurricane, earthquake, all kinds of things, and now this COVID-19 crisis, and you've seen it all. I mean, have you tried to use some of that knowledge to help market Puerto Rico at this time?
We've felt, and we saw actually after Maria and even after the earthquakes earlier this year, where we saw a pretty amazing turnaround. Numbers return to pre-Maria levels even within a month after the seismic activity in January. But I think it's really become a strength of Puerto Rico, the resiliency. And what we've seen is not only in our organization, Discover Puerto Rico, but many, many partners throughout the island, is that going through those very trying times really forces you to polish off the emergency response and crisis communication plans, and to think through not only what do you have to do to take care of your business and your staff, but also to prepare and take care of your customers. And so in some respects, it certainly has paid off. Of course, this crisis is unlike anything any of us have ever seen. But the one thing that is true about this situation that I think parallels with every other economic crisis we've faced is that the one certain way to limit the economic damage is to shorten the recovery cycle. Mm-hmm. So while we do have a lot of downtime from normal operational procedures, we at Discover Puerto Rico and our partners are using this to plan for the recovery so that we can accelerate that recovery, shorten the recovery cycle, and hopefully be back in business sooner than others might expect.
Now, obviously, we're all hoping for good news, and we keep searching for it in the news media. And I think some travel advisors are already starting to prepare for what we hope will be, people returning to travel, people booking travel. How should travel advisors prepare for the opening of Puerto Rico so they can book their clients to the destination? And what is Discover Puerto Rico doing to help them do that?
First and foremost, James, I think travel advisors are more important to our industry today than perhaps ever before. And let's face it, there's a lot of people in the industry and some in my roles in other destinations that have taken travel advisors for granted. We haven't always looked to that very important group of travel influencers to grow and sustain business. And yet I think the consumer is going to be more dependent on those trusted advisors because now we're talking about a consumer that's going to be wary not only of what's necessary to ensure the overall safety, but what are you doing to ensure my safety as a traveler? And those trusted advisors, I think, are going to be absolutely essential going forward. So first and foremost, we're doing everything we can to not only keep the communication lines flowing with updated, accurate information, but also listening to the travel advisors we work with is what they're hearing. They are oftentimes the first or the last source of information to and from the consumer. So we've found that not only by providing them information, but learning from them and listening to them is absolutely critical. We've also stepped up our travel agent expert program, and realizing a lot of us have a little more downtime at home than usual. For those travel advisors that want to polish up on their Puerto Rico information or want to become a certified Puerto Rico travel expert, we've offered a $50 incentive actually through April 20th. So they can log on to our website at discoverpuertorico.com, mm-hmm. pass the general course, and not only will they be better prepared to market travel to Puerto Rico, they can enjoy the rewards of a $50 gift card, and who wouldn't like to have that right now? And then last but certainly not least, we're trying to keep Puerto Rico top of mind. This is not a time to be selling. It's really not a time to be advertising, but we don't have to step back when consumers are still dreaming. So we're trying to keep the Puerto Rico message forefront on their minds so that when they're ready to travel, Puerto Rico is at the top of mind.
No, and that's great. I know travel advisors have been stepping up and want to learn more about Puerto Rico, and so they're ready to book it in the future. Now, overall, in terms of the campaigns you're running, is there anything you're doing now to the public, or is there anything you're considering doing once it looks like everything's going to open up?
Yeah, the first thing we did, like every destination, is we paused our pays media. Certainly not a time to be actively out there advertising. We want to be sensitive to the situation and certainly want to avoid being tone deaf. But yet, while travelers aren't necessarily purchasing or planning, they are still dreaming. So the first thing we did was to roll out our virtual vacations. And this gave us an opportunity to showcase parts of Puerto Rico that you may have heard about, but you may never have had a chance to visit, and actually went live with broadcasts from the rainforest, El Yunque. We've given bomba dances and salsa dance lessons online. We've partnered with some of our chefs and mixologists to allow people to create some of those special Puerto Rico meals and concoctions from home. And all of that, of course, extends from the brand Discover Puerto Rico promotes it. Puerto Rico is such an extraordinary destination with rich, vibrant culture, but yet is part of the United States. And so our hope is that we can make time at home a little more enjoyable and get you ready for that vacation when it comes. We have begun to change the cadence and the tone of our messaging. And right now, if you look at the promotional materials we've pushed out, it's largely digital and social media, just reinforcing that Puerto Rico is a great place to relax, unwind when it is safe to travel. For now, we can share the sights and sounds of Puerto Rico, and when it's the right time, Puerto Rico is ready to welcome you back with open arms.
Well, yes, we did run an item about your virtual experiences, and although I can't say I've picked up the recipes, I'm still trying to figure out how to cook just regularly now. I don't cook that much because I travel too much, but I'm relearning, put it that way, and I definitely want to try some of those things that you offered, and also experience some of the things that I saw on that virtual program that you had. Is there anything else that you want to get out to our 100,000 plus travel advisor viewers about what Discover Puerto Rico is doing and what to meet the challenges of this crisis?
Well, James, we have been through so many trying times here in Puerto Rico that we understand what it feels like when everything turns against you. Unlike past crises, this one, we're all in it together, and we're going to climb out of this together. It won't happen as quickly as some of us would like, but I'm confident that we're going to look back on this and realize just how incredibly important our industry is to the world, not only for the economics, but the social health and well-being of all of us. And so for right now, we're laying the groundwork for what we hope to be a record comeback, and we know travel advisors are going to be a key part of that. Our hope is that we can provide a great travel experience amidst a new normal for travelers when travel does come back, and be an even better partner with all of those travel advisors who are looking forward to the recovery that awaits us.
Well, I have to say, I already love the background that you are standing in front of, although I suspect it might be a virtual one. It's better than my horse's head behind me and my barking dog outside. But this is what we have to live with today in this new virtual environment. And again, hopefully we will emerge very soon, within the month or so. And I got to tell you, one of my first places I'd love to visit again is Puerto Rico. It's a wonderful destination, and you guys have done a great job promoting it through a lot of different crises. You guys have written the plan on crisis planning, I think. That was for sure. Brad, I want to thank you for taking the time to tell us what's going on with Discover Puerto Rico, what's going on with Puerto Rico in general. And again, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.